Today's episode is brought to you by Andy Bovender, the founder of the Bovender team out of the Carolinas. Him and his team have helped more than 5,000 families. So if you have a client who's been thinking about making a move to that area, they are the team to call. Today, I sit down with John Jenkins, and he shares in his 25 years of experience some things that he does to help his mindsets, collaborate with other agents, and build out his network. Speaking of network, if you're looking for ways to build out your agent-to-agent network, check out the link below for the Inner Circle group. And as always, I'm your host and San Francisco referral partner, Shawn Kunkler. John, we are live. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here, Shawn. Thank you for the opportunity.
I'm stoked to have you here. It's funny. We kind of known each other for years on the peripheral, but now we're actually getting to sit down and have a full conversation, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, no, I'm so grateful for Six Ambers to kind of connected us. That was the thing that finally did it.
What a killer group you guys have over there.
It is. It's
for
awesome.
People not familiar with it, can you give them a quick synopsis of what
very
it is?
Quick rundown is I've been involved with Six Ambers probably now for 4.5 years. Sky Michaels, manager with Compass in Philadelphia, when COVID hit, they couldn't all get together. And so he started virtually meeting. He was doing it at 5, but then he started at 6. And so that the agents in his office could get together and he can do a little motivation, meditation, bring in some good speakers and keep the agents motivated instead of just sitting and binging and just eating, at home because we couldn't do anything during COVID. And so it just kind of kept spreading and spreading. And what was incredible about Sky with Six Ambers is that he didn't hoard that. He could have just hoard. He was just a manager over his office in Philly. He did not hoard that. He opened it up to other offices, which to me speaks of the spirit of Six Ambers. That it's about opening it to everyone.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that he was, and I don't want to say but I didn't know he was just a manager of a specific office.
He was just, he came over from KW, had his own team, came over, and he was managing an office in Philly.
That's interesting. I had naturally assumed he was somewhere or somehow entwined on a national level with the
he moved up, and then he became over education, and then he was running the entire coaching and education for Compass, and that's when he was going around nationally, and that was just too much for him to be doing Six Ambers and that. It was a lot.
Totally makes sense. And for those people listening, if you haven't heard of Sky or know what he does, there's a couple. I have 2 recordings with him. Mm-hmm. They're both phenomenal. Yeah, he gives such great coaching advice. Yeah,
he left a little over a year ago to start his own coaching with Heart Coaching. Yep. Is fantastic. But he opened it up, and then he started doing East Coast at 6 a.m. and then a West Coast at 6 a.m. And brought on Emily Bossert in Boulder, another manager in Boulder with Compass, and he would do it by himself, kind of on the East Coast, and the West Coast he was doing it with Emily, and it was a great partnership. And they were doing it Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I got involved and just loved the spirit in getting together with other agents across the country and getting to know them. And then he had suggested to start doing these third Thursday meetups every third Thursday of whoever in your area. Let's have a network. Get together. You go on a hike or go out to dinner, go to lunch or do something. And so Tanya Jones and I, who's up in Danville, we kind of organized this thing and started got all the agents together that we knew were Six Ambers and started organizing monthly social networking to get together. And we've been doing it now for, 3.5, 4 years, every month. And we just had one yesterday up in Greenbrae, up in Marin County. And we get agents flying in out of town lots of times just to go to these events. And it's about networking and friendship and collaboration. And so that's what Six Ambers is about, is family.
Have you been completely neglecting your newsletter, social media, or any of your outbound marketing? If so, I have a solution for you. With little to no commitment, a virtual assistant can jump in and help you in those areas you just don't have the time for. For more information about hiring a virtual assistant, go ahead and follow the link in the description below. That's incredible. I didn't realize that it had grown and evolved and morphed in such an amazing way. It's as newer agents, I don't think I know I didn't realize early out of the gate how crucially important having a network is of peers, because it's not just business talk, but it's so many other supportive things that you learn and glean from people.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just get just being around somebody's, you just get motivated. And
let me give you 2 examples real quick.
Please.
So my wife went through cancer about 3 years ago, and went through chemo and radiation, and the love and support that we got and she felt from the 6 a.m. community across the country was incredible. People that were just texting her and sending gift packages or stuff was incredible. And then it came back a year later. I mean, the morning that she was going in for surgery the second time around, Tanya texted me and they dedicated the meditation on the East Coast and the West Coast to Robin while she was going into surgery. It just, it's just stuff like that. And there's so many stories, Shawn, where the connections of agents around the country, that they feel their family and that love. And it's not focused like, referrals. It's about collaboration and love and family. And that's what it's about. And that's why I've just sucked into it.
Hey, real estate pros, be honest. You know you should be using video, but maybe you feel awkward, don't have the time, or just aren't seeing the results. This is where Kim Rittberg's Video Bootcamp comes in. This live coaching program helps agents create high quality videos quickly and confidently, resulting in leads and clients. Her students have seen results. One landed 3 new clients directly from social media, and others brought in millions of dollars in closed sales. Spots are limited, and to apply now, follow the link in the description below. Yeah, I mean, I can see why. I mean, I've only been a part of it as a guest, and so I wasn't privy to that side of it, but it sounds like such a great just community, like genuine, in like the true sense of the word, community.
It is.
To be surrounded with just such great people. And I like that you said too, it's not just about the referrals. I think that's the other thing people miss is referrals are a byproduct of the relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not, you don't go to the relationship to get something, you go to the relationship to give something. And then the building and through that experience at some point is the reciprocity of the referral.
Amen.
If it happens.
I've always looked and said, if I can learn something to enhance my business, to help me fine tune something in my career on my business, and I'm more profitable, that's so much more valuable than than a referral. And so it's about what can I share with others that I've learned and learned from others. And there's top agents around the country who have a superpower. Amit in Miami, his superpower is YouTube. He's incredible.
Yeah.
And we've connected, and he has helped me with my YouTube, and I've helped him on other things. And so, there's coaches around the country. We got coaches, and they're fantastic. But so many times the coach is coaching to the masses, and every week they have a new topic. You're like, let's work on this, or let's work on this. And so you're never fully getting traction on that one thing that they were teaching, because it typically takes a long time to finally implement it, fine tune it, and systematize it so it's working. And so I look in and say, what is something that John needs to work on in his career, in business, in real estate.
Yeah.
I need to find someone else who's already doing that and has that perfected, and then collaborate with them. Yeah. And that's what and the agents within the 6 community are so much more collaborative than I find than outside the just other Compass agents. And so, and
water seeks its own level. And so,
yeah, it does. It does.
And so that's the right culture. Like when that culture that has all those perfect elements, then you, on one side, you'll repel those other agents who just don't fit. They just won't fit, and they'll know it. And the ones that do, it's that component of peer coaching, I think is way overlooked, and it's probably the most important aspect of our business. And it's for me, I mean, I have this amazing privilege to sit down with people like you every week. Mm-hmm. And so I'm always looking, my mindset is, how can I do what I'm doing just 1% better tomorrow?
Yep.
That's it. And so I'm not looking for like this revolutionary brand new idea. I'm just listening for that one little thing I can run back to my team and say, hey, let's improve this one thing today. Mm-hmm. Make it just 1% better. And if you do that enough times over the course of the year, totally different direction.
Amen. Exactly, Shawn. Yeah.
And there's so many areas. Like, we know, I mean, as your business evolves and as you get busy, it's a very natural human thing to drop other balls. And so, the 1% maybe is, hey, we really need to go back and look at our systems and process and tweak those to make sure those balls don't drop again. And it's like, great. And it evolves. But sometimes just being a part of the conversation, those little light bulbs go off. And you're just, it's nice when they happen. You're like, I never looked at it like that from that perspective. Let me try it. Let me hop on the phone with somebody and kind of pick their brain and see specifically how and what they're doing.
The other thing is that, I might not have all the time and the other agent might not have the time, but you know what we each have? Our assistants who know the systems. True. It's a lot of times it's putting our assistants together so that they're teaching each other, because my time on my return on my time. Yeah. And so there's a lot of that also going on, Shawn. And
that's smart delegating.
It's about delegating it out and what's the best use of my time. And so and they've got their systems in place, but just get your people together and they're helping each other out.
Yeah. So. And you make such a great point. I think that's the other illusion in this industry is we as agents have to be an absolute expert in every aspect.
No,
it's not true. Your assistant should be the expert in that category. You should have an idea and you should be able to manage it, but you don't need to be the expert in that.
And it's tough to let some of that stuff go because I'm a more perfectionist and there's going to be mistakes on there and stuff. But, there's a great book like Who Not How and about your time. And it's about 80% is better than never doing something. And so many times we're waiting and waiting and waiting. And, you're going to course correct a lot quicker. You will course correct quicker when you make the mistakes. I mean, when a plane is going from San Francisco to Paris, is that going in a straight line? Hell no. There's clouds coming up. They've got to constantly course correct. Yeah. And you will do that along the way. And so
that's my favorite. I use that one all the time.
You do?
Yeah. And the other add-on that I always throw in is if the plane then is off course, that's not a failure, it's an outcome. And so you just need to make an adjustment to get it back on course.
Yeah.
And then again, it's gonna ricochet and basically being off course the whole time. And it's the duty of the pilot to continue to course correct. Yeah. And so there's no failures, there are outcomes. And so 80% isn't bad. That's just maybe not necessarily the outcome you wanted, but now you have if you improve it 1%, but more importantly, you empower the person on your team to figure out why it needs to be improved by 1% and they understand it. They may improve it 10% or 20% and make up that whole delta by them owning it. And that's to your point, it's so, especially in the early days, it's so flipping hard to just hand a piece of your business to another person.
Yeah. And it's tough that when you're seeing them, it's just to tell them exactly how to do it. And there's times I do, but other times they're not learning. The part of having people in your teams that they're learning and learning from the mistakes, and because they're going to learn it quicker. And that's an area I always struggle, and I always have to try to remind myself, what's your opinion? How did you arrive there? What are your thoughts on it? And get them to disclose it for themselves rather than me saying, this is wrong. Like, fix that. Instead of me saying it, I prod with questions, and then they usually will come up with. And it takes more time. It's easier just to do it. And, but you're taking the opportunity for them to grow.
I took the Ninja sales training course, which is great. And there was I don't remember what section we were on, but the instructor was saying you have to go slow to go fast. And I so deeply try to remember that when I'm looking at something and I'm like, I can just do it and get it done, but that's not good, because the next time I'm going to have to use my time again to do it, and my time again to do it, and week over week I'm going to have to continue to use my time. But if I go slow and teach them to do it the way that the standards are of the company, then they can go fast and I conserve all my time.
Yeah. Well, and that comes down to having your checklist. A great book is the Checklist Manifesto, and having those checklists, and then when you do have a screw up and something falls, updating that checklist. Updating that checklist and having one place where those different checklists are, and then updating those and going through the systems, because it's okay to make a mistake. It's
not okay to make the same mistake twice.
Yeah, if you're making it twice, then it's becoming a habit. But the only way we learn is when we make mistakes. It was funny. I was because Tanya and I do our Connections Coffee Talk, a podcast once a month, and we were interviewing someone that we want to interview coming up later in the fall. And she wrote a book called "A Compliment is a Good Thing," or it's about the positiveness when you get a complaint, and that in so many industries they don't want complaints. They do not want complaints, or when they get a complaint, they don't do anything to correct it, and that's where you learn and grow. And I remember, you remember Tom Peters that wrote all those excellent books in the 80s? And
I don't.
You did? Okay. So there was a story about that. I think it was Marriott or some big corporation realized that if they make a mistake, but they correct it real quickly, that the outcome of the happiness of the client was better than never having a mistake and just having a good experience, because showing you that you can correct and improve on a mistake and is much more beneficial, and people feel much better.
100%. We recently got a puppy, and we scheduled for a puppy class. There was a snafu, and we showed up, and basically the class had been canceled, but we weren't updated. And so I wound up messaging them, and I was pretty annoyed.
Yeah.
And because it's like, if you're familiar with the puppy, it's a huge pain in the ass to schlep a puppy.
Yeah.
Like, get them into the car, drive for 30 minutes, get to the place, and then they're closed, and you're like, oh, and then you get back and you have a whiny dog, and it's just a complete nightmare. Yeah. And so I was pretty agitated, and immediately, which I just so deeply appreciate, he's like, I completely apologize for the flub up. We're going to give you, we'll give you all the online classes for free from here on out for life. And we'll give you a make good on a class, and then we'll give you an additional class. Yeah. And then it was like, he just owned it. And it was the person I was emailing with was the owner of the company. Yeah. And, I so deeply respected it, because I read it as a frustrated owner, and then I also read it as a business owner. Yeah. And there was no defensiveness in his tone, and it was all problem solving, and he way overcompensated to the point where I was thanking him at the end. And I was like, job well done. Like, that was, and I wrote him a raving review for it.
Yeah. Where if you had just gone to the class, You would have been happy. But now you're more of a fan. You're more of a fan because how they handled that fuck up,
100%.
And so how you handle that stuff is so important. But,
yeah. And I think that goes back to, we talked about it briefly before we got on, but it's really, it's how you think about the business and people is how you show up in these moments.
yeah,
It's easy to say, oh, positive, I'm thinking positive and do your affirmations. But it's hard to do that when part of my friends, but the shit's hitting the fan and people are furious. And if you can still show up like that and lead with grace,
yeah,
it's received on such a different level from the people who actually need it the most in that moment.
yeah, yeah. It really is, and then trying to get feedback from your clients and other people and who give you honest feedback. We were talking about this yesterday, that if you lose, you go on a listing presentation, or you go on a presentation to get a listing, and you end up not getting it, and then trying to find out, not to argue with the person to try to get it, and talk them out of still going with you, but what can I learn? What did I do? Sometimes it's just the right personality, but this one time, oh geez, it was 10 years ago. And I really wanted this listing. I put all this time into it. Went out on a Saturday morning. I thought I did a kick-ass presentation. I'd sold other stuff in there. And then, I followed up, he said, I'll let you know on Monday. And we followed up, and he's like, I am going to someone else. And he said, it just kind of wasn't a good match and stuff. And I said, hey, I appreciate it. I'm not going to try to talk you out of it, but can you give me some honest feedback and tell me if there was anything I could have done differently? Yeah. And he says, well, we wanted to go with you, but you acted like you didn't even want to be there. You wanted to get out of there so fast. I said, really? And he goes, literally, when you got out that front door, you ran to your car. And then I'm like, oh shit, I did. And what was going on was that our daughter, who was like 4 or 5, was invited to a princess birthday party, and they're going to have like a princess there, and they do face painting. And I didn't want to miss that. I didn't want to miss that party to be there with my daughter. Yeah. And I'm like, shit, that showed so much that I was so, thinking about that in the back of the head, and it came across. And you know what, Shawn, I'm so grateful that he told me that, so that I could see that weakness in me and learn from that. And so, when you can get honest feedback, that's more valuable than trying to go and push yourself in and say, hey, let me change your mind. Blah, blah, blah. No, get that feedback, and what can I learn from it so I can improve? Yeah, and
I think you also made a great point, is you didn't even realize.
I didn't know.
You didn't realize it was even happening, and now it's like I really have to be present.
I have to be present
to give them to give them that experience. It's unfortunately, pain is usually the best teacher, but if you face it head on and ask the question, you like that in your case, you get really good feedback.
Yeah, and you're not there to justify it and talk them out of it and argue. You're just there to listen.
Yeah, which is also
weigh it. And sometimes it's bullshit, and sometimes it's real. But you've got to be honest with yourself. You got to be honest with yourself. So,
yeah, and I think the other tricky part is sometimes on the other side of the coin is I've asked the same thing, and people just aren't honest because they're uncomfortable with being honest, and so they want to spare you.
Yeah.
And so they'll be like, "Oh no, it was just XYZ." They kind of like downplay it.
Yeah.
And so I think it's healthy to ask, but I would also just say you don't always get
you don't always get the truth.
Yeah, you don't always get.
And that's why you weigh it and say, I've had some people say, well, I just didn't I thought your marketing was the same as everyone else. I don't do, and I know it's bullshit, but I didn't call bullshit on it, and you weigh it and say, is this something or is it bullshit? And if it's not something bullshit, and that's where you have to be very honest with yourself. Is this something that's real or not? Because most people aren't going to be honest with you, Shawn. They're not.
I agree. I think that's, especially in business and working for yourself, it's really, really hard to be honest with yourself and just have those tough conversations of the areas of the business where maybe you need help, maybe you need more education, maybe you just need to hand it off because you're just never going to actually get good at that thing. And that's fine. It's okay. We're not perfect in every category, but it's hard. It's sometimes those are hard conversations.
Yeah. Well, and having friends that will be honest with you,
Yeah.
that will be brutally honest with you, and not too many friends do that.
Yeah.
They don't want to hurt your feelings, and so
Yeah, and I think it goes back to the earlier point of the 6 a.m.ers. It's really start with surrounding yourself with the right people.
it is.
And then my next data point is with feedback is just consider the source. If that person has the business that you're looking to achieve and they're giving you feedback, that's strong feedback.
Yeah.
But if the other person's not even in the industry and they're just looking in from the outside giving you feedback,
Yeah.
it could be good feedback from their experience,
Yeah.
but not necessarily for the business. And so I
Exactly.
think just considering the source it's powerful,
Yeah.
you know?
And what might be working over in, Louisiana might not be relevant here in Silicon Valley or in the Bay Area.
True.
And just kind of analyzing all of that. But I do find, Shawn, and that's the other thing that I love about 6 a.m.ers is that they share the good stuff, the agents. I love agents in my office, been doing this 25 years, but they're not as collaborative because they're your competition. Yeah. Once you get outside your area that you kind of work in and agents don't feel as competitive with you, they share the good stuff. We go up there, you hear a top agent panel and what they say up there. Come on, Shawn. Most of it's bullshit.
It's all fluff.
They're not, it's all fluff. They're not telling you the good shit. They're not. I know that. And
I think they give high level stuff too. They don't really, it's like you want to ask 10 more questions to get to the root of it. And those panels never do.
Yeah, they don't. So, and that's the other thing that I get from 6 a.m.ers is that collaboration. Yeah. And before COVID, I was coaching with Lorna Hines coaching, and was doing Lorna probably for 6 years. And that's where I've gotten to know other agents around the San Francisco Bay Area. And those agents were so collaborative. And so, but then when that kind of shut down and Lorna was just doing virtually and we weren't getting together a couple times a month in networking and in person. And that's when I kind of switched over to 6 a.m.ers. And that's why we also started doing our in-person networking collaborative stuff. And, but that Lorna was a great asset to my career in that.
I can see that. I mean, I'm sure, helped you structure your commissions in a much more healthy
way.
I
started doing buyer broker years, before NAR started making us. Yeah.
Oh, before everybody was panicking, you're like, I got this.
No, geez,
I'm good.
And who I learned it from? I learned it from Raziel up in Burlingame. I learned it from other agents, the Motleys up in Lafayette. Agents that had already been doing this, I would sit down with them because I got to know them through more, and I would learn more of it and how everything through these other agents who were so helpful and collaborative. And that's where a lot of my mindset went from, because I saw other agents doing it and giving of their time.
So to kind of help some people just listening to you and they're not able to see you, how many years in the business have you been?
25.
So you're 25 years in the business. You started Lorna. It was a few years back.
About, I would say now 8 years ago. But I stopped coaching with her like 2 years ago.
And so I think just for people listening, a really important data point is even 15, 20 years in, you're looking for education and mentors ultimately, and peers and peer coaching and networking. I just think it's such an important thing that that continuous growth, regardless of how long you've been in the industry, is such a core component.
It is.
It's not a destination. It's just it's part of the journey.
Yeah.
You just continue to evolve. And the agents who don't, I mean, and this applies to any business. Once you're stagnant, that's it. What's the rule? If you're green, you grow. If you're ripe, you rot.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. It's so true. And giving back also and mentoring others. Yeah. And I used to teach I was with Lon Pennell before Lon Pennell sold over to Compass. And I would teach a class in the master's program to all the new agents. And I always say, hey, listen, after the class, if you want to come get some help, if what I went over, I will give you my time. And it's so few the agents that ever took me up on that. But
that's wild. That's wild.
I know.
You have, I mean, if somebody with that many years of experience ever said that to me, I'd be like, hey man, can I grab coffee with you? Like, I'll grab lunch. Yeah. It's on me. I would love to just pick your brain because I just think being around the right people, sometimes it just sets your mindset in the right direction. Sometimes they give you that golden nugget. Sometimes they give you something to just evaluate in your business or yourself. Again, it goes back to consider the source. Like if that person's succeeding on the level you want to, hang out with them.
Yeah.
Something will be gleaned from that experience.
Well, kind of talking about the collaboration and networking, one of the classes I would teach was called relationship marketing. And it was relationship marketing to your own clients, your past clients. And that, so often when we're we're trying to get them to list their house or to go with us, you are courting them, you are engaged, and you are so there. And then you get the deal done and it's kind of like, oh man, we got married. I told you I loved you on the day we got married. I don't need to keep telling you and romancing you. And so, like, oh, how many times, Shawn, you go into a open house, not so much, but back maybe 10 years ago, and there's an open house and they have another agent's damn magnet, a calendar magnet on the fridge. And I'm like, first of all, the agent who is like, got the listing, take that shit down, but, and so just sending them a calendar every year ain't fucking cutting it. Okay. It's not. And so what can you do to set up systems to make those people feel that you love them? Because it's not about just getting business down the road from them. It's about referrals and training them. And so, knowing their birthdays, their anniversaries, knowing intimate things about them. And so, my wife is on my Facebook throughout the day and she'll text me and say, so-and-so's dad just died or so-and-so's dog died or something happened, and then quickly acting on that and doing something and dropping something off. There's a small window when something tragic's going in someone's life that you can be a really good friend. And if you miss that window, not that, like, how many times have you said it's like 4 months later and you're like, oh, and your friend's dad died and like, oh shit, do I call him now? Is it too late? There's that window. Yeah, still do it. But there's small windows that you can act and become a rock star in their eyes. And it's, first because you care. And it's not like, oh, I'm doing this because I want a referral, but you care. It all, people ask me, it's like, John, how do you know so many people? I said, first, it's got to start. You like people. Do you like people? If you don't like people, you're in the wrong fucking business. Okay. You've got to really care about people and know about them. And, but I've just kind of expanded that now from my own clients and past clients of knowing them and doing the same thing with agents across the country and really going deep and knowing them intimately of things and reaching out to them.
Yeah. It's interesting. You remind me, it's a couple things. Is I think a mistake that people do is they only look at current clients as clients, and we should look at them as past clients as clients as well. And then we should also look at agents as clients.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole book of referral business. And to continuously build that. And additionally, if you're recruiting for your team, those people that you're trying to recruit are clients. And so all of those groups, there's a there's a schedule of following up, touching base, and building a relationship. And I love that you leverage social media for that, because most people put the big events on social media.
They do.
And if you just pick up the phone and call them like, hey, I'm really sorry that your family member passed away. My condolences.
Yeah.
It just, like, you're just being human, man. I mean, it's like such a nice, it's nice to just be acknowledged sometimes. And,
people will drop hints also on a conversation. They drop hints. And so if I'm having a conversation with an agent, and as soon as I hang up the phone or I've left them, we were face to face, I am literally going in my notes on my phone and put an audio message to myself. They've got an autistic son who's having a hard time. This about them, this about them, information about them, so that when I reach back out to them, I can say, hey, man, how's your son doing? You know, or you mentioned that your dad's having a hard time having a surgery coming up. You know, that extra little connection is like, oh shit, he cares, because I do care. I do care. And asking people, you know, how are you doing on this? How are you, you know, and so, I mean, it's just not your past clients, your current. What if a neighbor comes in the open house and you connect with them, but they're saying, I'm never going to sell until they take me out in my coffin, you know, a wooden box. No, if you have a connection with them, maybe you want to add them into your stuff. And I get so many referrals from neighbors that I've never done a deal with, but I built a relationship with. I do a drop by, and I even send them anniversary cards, even though I didn't sell their house to them. I know the agent that sold them is not doing that shit. Yeah. So I'm going to start doing that.
Well, and here's a crazy stat. So it's funny that you called it relationship marketing, because probably about 7-8 years ago in my business, we built out a whole relationship marketing specifically to people who know us. And my goal with that was, how do I treat people better who know us than those like mystery leads you get online? Yeah. Yeah. Right. And so just how do we really deepen the relationship? But the thing that the driver for that was, and I might misquote it, so somebody can look it up and double check, but according to NAR, 87% of people who transacted with an agent said they would use them again.
Yeah.
But only 13% actually
do. They actually.
And so there's a massive drop-off rate in between saying yes and then actually doing it. And that for me was a huge, it was a massive eye-opener, because in a place like San Francisco, there's 7 by 7 miles. There's 6,000 agents and there's a finite amount of property. And so the likelihood of somebody knowing 3 to 6 other agents, incredibly high. But now how do I stand out? Like, how do I actually differentiate myself, but not say I'm different, but actually show them? Yeah. So they can feel the experience that I am actually different. My team is different. We do things differently. Yeah. I think that magic formula is going to be the defining difference between the agents who succeed in the years to come and the ones who just have to get another job. Yeah, it's so true. And so, I mean, I would say probably at least every other week. The other thing is I mean, I was just the Jenkins team for 20 plus years. And so when I connected with Tanya Jones up in San Ramon through 6Amers, and her team up there was called Connections Real Estate Team, which is a killer name, Connections, because everything is about connections. And so, but we just started collaborating, accountability partners, and we decided to, like a year and a half ago, to team up. Really? And so she's got her team up there with Lorraine Hawkins, and I'm down here with my own team. But it's more in branding and things. But I love that name. I love that name because everything is about connecting. And I want to be a connector, so that if you don't know, we want our clients to call us and say, hey, instead of getting on Yelp and asking her for who's the best, person for a roofing, call me. I will connect you. Yeah. I will. And now I know Kathy Maringer was going to be concerned because I'm saying stuff like giving referral, vendors out but I mean, about giving too many people out that I don't know and everything. But, you want them to call, I want them to call me, and I will connect you with the people I know.
And so like, don't jump on Workplace and put, who do you know in, we get calls all the time, Shawn, that said, who do you know in areas that I don't work in, but they know and trust me that I know agents and I connect them together. And I'm not getting anything. I'm just getting a reward because putting it together because I connected you to.
Do you know what's wild? It's funny from doing this podcast. I would say that's the number one text I get from agents.
Who do you know? Who do you know?
That I know and don't even know, haven't even met. I've had people text me like, "Hey, I've been listening to the podcast, love it. I have a client moving to blank.
Yeah.
Who do you recommend?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, for starters, that's a huge honor. Thank you.
That is. Yeah.
And then it's like, well, let me source it. Like, and then if it's a past guest, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Talk to this person.
Yeah. Because don't go on Workplace. Don't go on Workplace and just type in a name. You're going to get bombarded with stuff. Talk to sources that you know and trust who can.
Do you know that's the number one way that people find their agent?
It's crazy.
It's referral.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's recommendation.
Yeah, it is.
Which bypasses the actual word of trust is on the list, but it's like number 7 or 8. Mm-hmm. But the number one it's the referral recommendation.
It is.
It bypasses literally everything. And so if you can get into somebody's good graces, build a tangible relationship with them, you're halfway there.
Yeah. And there's times where it's tempting because the market's been a little slow. I've been very blessed the last 2 years doing really great, but I get calls and say, "Hey, do you do this area?" And it's a little outside. It's outside my area. It's maybe 30 miles away. And do I do it, or do I refer and tell them to connect with another agent? Yeah. I connect with them with another agent because I know they're going to do a better job than me. Yeah. They're going to do a better job than me because I'm not in my lane. I'm in an outside my area and it's more important to me that to keep that agent happy and not do not as good of a job. Yeah. And being on, it's the old thing on Miracle on 34th Street where going to Santa Claus, no, we don't have that gift here, but you got to go across the street to the other school, the other shop that has it over there. And he got in trouble for doing that in the movie, that Santa Claus. And so, but being honest and giving that away, because again, it's the law of abundance and that there's plenty for everyone.
It's also the law of reciprocity.
Yeah.
It's just, it's and this is what I always think about in the different groups that I'm part of. But if everybody shows up and gives a referral, you never have to ask for a referral.
No.
Because just the law of averages, you're going to receive a referral.
Yeah.
And so we have a rule that you cannot ask for a referral to the group.
Yeah.
The rule is you have to give.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's it. And then the beauty is you then ultimately receive. But yeah, the past 2 years have been tricky, and I've had people reach out, and I for a hot second, I'm like, yeah, maybe I should run with this. And to your point, I'm like, that's not my lane. I'm an expert in this area, and I know it inside and out, and I'm not 100%. I could probably do a great job, but I wouldn't do the absolute best job.
Yeah, and your because your reputation is more important.
It's way more important.
Because if you do an average job, you're going to lose that. You're going to lose that trust.
100%.
Yeah. And my relationship with the other agents and the other people I know is more important than getting a deal. It's more important than getting a deal.
That's my 2 rules are no deal. Like no amount of money is worth more than my license, meaning I'm not doing unethical shit, period.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my reputation is not worth the deal. Like if I'm going to compromise myself in any way to do it, it's just not the right deal.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so, but it's hard. I mean, it's hard when you're not in the 2 and 3% interest rate anymore, and your business is just crazy and booming, and it's the roaring 20s all over again. Mm-hmm. But I think taking the high road is always the better of the two.
Well, I know what a year and a half ago when Robert was doing with Compass, back to basics, because so many agents, and it is just go back to the basics, and that's just face to face with your people, and going to coffee or whatever, and because so many times where there's so much coaching, so much training. Compass has so many Momentum Monday. They've got this, they got this, they got this, they got this, they got this free course from Sarag, this. And it's too much.
It's too much.
And it's too much. You're on overload and you never are getting anything done because you're a junkie to coaching.
Yeah.
And you just need, I don't know, you need to slow down, pull back, pick one or two things that I'm going to focus on this month or 2 months and get that implemented. You got to work on your business and you got to work on your improving your sales and stuff. But there's two things that most people aren't working on their business, and having those systems in place, all of that stuff. And, and that's the one thing that is my superpower is systems and connecting. And so like if I meet someone new, I've got a whole system that says I'm going to go vet them. I'm going to go find them on social media. I'm going to put them in the CRM. I'm also going to put them in my phone. I want them in my phone because and I want their photo. And I find their photo and I put their photo in there because I need to see their face and their name. And so and I've had neighbors that I met once and I get all their information and they've called me because I start sending them stuff or doing pop-bys and they'll call me. And I can instantly say, Bob, how you doing? And then in my notes, right on the phone, it says, oh, we met on Blue Bonnet on back here. And they mentioned this. And I said, hey, how you doing? We met, you're over in Blue Bonnet, right? And they're like, oh my hell, I can't remember that. So I've got to have a place where all that information is for me to look at. Politicians have a handler by them, right?
They do.
Everywhere they go. Because the politicians, they're stupid. They don't know anything. They can't remember anything. But that handler is whispering in their ear, oh, that's the wife of the delegate from Ethiopia or something. And he's had affairs this, and he knows all and he's whispering that in your ear so that when you walk up to someone, he has all that, he's prepared, because you can only remember so much in your head. But you got to have all the cheat notes here. And so I'm very big on putting those notes down and then reminding me. And
that's pure gold. I really genuinely hope somebody goes back and rewinds and listens to the past 2 minutes. You literally just outlined the system. It's always I find the word systems and process is such a dirty word to people, but you clearly outlined the system to have a way to follow up in a much more elegant way to basically pick up the conversation exactly where it left off without skipping a beat.
Yeah.
And it's genius. And I also really like too that you shared, and it's funny, now that I'm thinking about it, I was on Sky Michael's coaching call. He was interviewing me and picking my brain about all of the things that I gleaned from these amazing guests that I've had through the years. And in the conversation, I said, the one thing that I found with top performing agents is they figure out the perfect intersection where their passion meets productivity.
Yeah.
And for you, it's clearly connecting. And then within that, you've created this whole system, the formula to do it in the most efficient way possible to help make that other person feel really good.
It's all about making them feel good.
Correct.
What can I do? And if you're at an event and and you're talking with someone and and so once I know oh, Shawn likes, Will Ferrell movies. Okay. And I know little facts about you. And so when I see oh my gosh, Shawn, you've got to meet so-and-so. He's here. Come on over here. Come on over. And I connect you two and I tell you that you both know you're both passionate about something.
Yeah.
Then that's going to help because how many times have we met someone and oh, geez, they're an asshole, someone in your office. But then it's a year later, you find out, oh, wow, you're not that bad. You both like this certain thing. Yeah. Connecting people is finding out what each people are passionate about, and then you can connect them. Yeah. And that's where the relationship starts. Because when I'm going through a listing and I'm looking at the house, I'm looking more about what books do they read? What do you
It's the same thing.
I'm looking at what pictures are on the wall. What do they like to do? Where do they travel? Because then you're looking for something that you're passionate about and they're passionate about, and you can talk about it, and then you got the deal. It's not about commission. It's just sometimes it's about building the connection, finding those triggers that you're both love.
Yeah.
And then you talk about it.
It's, oh my gosh. It's funny. Like, you just gave me a flash, but my most fun, pleasurable listing opportunities where we were walking through the property, and I remember one in particular. I was like, I know I'm looking at the property, but I just have to say, this piece of art is just really incredibly cool. Tell me more about it.
Yeah.
And then come to find out, it was the husband made it in the 80s, and he had an art studio in the garage, and they took me to the garage. And then the whole conversation was about art. Yeah. And we barely talked about the house. I think I was there for 2 hours, and they're like, listen, we just want to sign with you. How do we get started? And we never really talked about the property at all. And it was just like this amazing, organic, very natural conversation. Yeah. And it's just like there's a magic moment that happens in there. Okay, let me tell you another secret. Most of my offers get accepted for buyers because I do so much vetting. The only reason they don't get it is because they just get too outbid and they cannot go any higher. Yeah. But it's about, if you've gone through all this process of looking at houses, and they're ready to write, you've got to do it right the first time. It's not about just turning an offer. And so I do so much vetting and a deep dive on the listing agent. If I know them, if I have a relationship with, but I'm doing a deep dive. How many deals have they done? Who have they done deals with? What's their average price to sell ratio in that neighborhood? Have they done stuff there? Are they experienced, and who they've done deals with? And then I start calling up agents that I know personally that have done deals with this agent. And I call them up and I'll say, Shawn, hey, how was it working to work with Dave? How many, tell me everything. Tell me about them. And they're going to tell me insights sometimes about things. And then I do a deep dive on the seller. And I subscribe to a website that gives me a deep dive on like private investigation stuff. And I'm looking at all that stuff. I'm looking for connections. I'm looking for connections with that seller and that I have or my clients have. And I'm looking on all their social medias. What are their kids? What are their interests? What are they passionate about? Oh, they like to go. The husband is a marathon runner. The wife likes to go up to Napa and drink wine. The kids play in orchestras or instruments. And so then I am talking to my clients and say, we are going to write a love letter. And I know there was a thing saying, though, don't write. I'm going to do it unless I'm told not to. And we need to find pictures. Okay. We need pictures of your kids playing the piano. We need pictures of you up in Napa drinking wine. All the stuff that's passionate in their life. I need to write that love letter to pull at those heartstrings. And then I start calling up the agents that I know that know the other agent really well. And I say, can you do me a favor? I want you to call up Shawn and put a good word and just say, hey, Shawn, you don't know John Jenkins, but man, he is awesome. He's the chairman of the grievance committee on Silvar. He's done this. He's done this. He's done this. You will not regret it, because they're going to have all these offers. And how can I stand out instead of just going boom, And so it's all about building that relationship and stacking the deck in your favor. Yes. 2 years ago, Shawn, I was going through this and I found out that my sister-in-law up in Oregon went to the same high school and graduated as the husband and wife. I called up my sister-in-law. I kid you not. I called up my sister-in-law. I said, how do you know them? She goes, I went to the prom with the husband. That's wild. And I said, can you reach out to them and just say, my brother-in-law, John Jenkins, with Compass, and just give him a fair shot. Just give him a fair shot. That's bonkers. We got the deal. And then other things we do is we write like 8 offers. If it's going to be multiple offers, we write like 8 offers, and we have all the first pages ready, and we
we don't go in hard. We just come in, and then we try to find out where we are. And while everyone else is trying to get DocuSign a new thing, we can just go boom, 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 and get up. And so we move fast. A lot of times we're in contract with a new offer that we've already got pre-signed, and we just got authorization to say go ahead and send it. And then we get in contract, and then the agent will call back and say, it's like 2 years later, oh my gosh, we've got one for 50,000, but we're already in contract with you, because we go in over prepared, ready to go.
Yeah. The last piece that you just said, I think, is the most critical and important part, is come in over prepared.
Yeah.
Because it's, especially in these spicy markets, you have to be over prepared. I remember at one point in the city, which I'm sure it was not dissimilar in Silicon Valley, is the average that I heard was clients would write between 5 and 8 offers before theirs would actually get accepted.
Yeah.
During that same time frame, ours was about 1.5 offers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, and to your point, most of the time it was just because they didn't have the financial wherewithal to they couldn't get to where it had to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was simply what it was. But yeah, I would say that's the other hallmark, is just be way over prepared.
Yeah.
Like,
do your homework. And so the other, I do the same thing when I'm looking at multiple offers that are coming in my way. I vet the agent. I want to know how many deals they've done. I'm talking to agents, because it's not about getting the highest price. It's about getting the highest price that will close and close
on time.
Yeah. And there's a lot of shitty agents out there, Shawn, you know that. And so I hear all the time agents like, oh my gosh, the other agent isn't performing, or they're doing this. Oh my gosh, what a jerk. How much research did you do on that agent before you accept the offer? Yeah. Did you even call other agents who they've done deals with and find out? I'm calling agents all the time and saying, you did a deal 6 months ago on this property. How were they to work with?
I mean, even more specific than that, I've received offers that were incomplete.
Yeah.
Like things just weren't filled in, like literally just not filled in. I'm in San Francisco. We have a San Francisco contract. I've gotten all different. I've gotten like homemade contracts. I've gotten car contracts, like all kinds of wacky stuff. Mm-hmm. And you're just like, oh my goodness, like, and so sloppy. I've gotten offers from agents I never ever met or talked to, and I just got an offer that day in my inbox, and never a call to even confirm that I actually received it. And I'm like, who are these people? Like, holy cow, it's wild out there, man.
It is.
And so, but I think on the flip side, it's really not that hard to be good and to stand out. It just be mindful and be conscious.
There's been times where other agents bring in an offer and they have a beautiful love letter and it has the pictures. I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to start copying this. It's about, it's so funny because our whole life going through school, Shawn, we've been taught, don't copy off your neighbor's paper. You're going to get an F. No, you copy other successful people. As long as you're not stealing copy infringement and copyright stuff, you will learn and grow.
100%.
It's totally, it's so ironic that, that's what we were taught our whole life.
Yeah, it's funny. I became a better agent representing buyers when I received more offers on listings, because then I saw what those really agents like you who just way outshine everybody else. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, that's what they're doing. I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And it really, when I transitioned to working with more sellers, it really helped me up my game. And I knew what I was looking for. And so now I just exude that. I make sure that agent knows that that's what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah.
And it's interesting being on the receiving side and how that really, really helps evolve even your disclosure packet. If you read a ton of disclosure packets from a buyer's perspective, when you're filling it out from a seller's perspective, you then know how to disclose the information honestly and truthfully, but doing it in a way that's not going to freak everybody out, because I've been a part of those where it's like it's written in such like an aggressive way. You're like, oh, that's scary.
Don't even get me started on disclosure. I say, do you mean our disclosure packets, we don't want like 50 different PDFs. We want maybe like 6. We want it simple and organized, and so it's just not confusing. I've got a lot of pet peeves about when I go in for my listing presentation. I'm not really talking comps. I'm saying this is what I do differently. You know, I even talk about like we want to keep your shoes on. We actually have a sign that says keep your shoes on, because, you know, I pull my clients out. I say, okay, it's the day of the open house. We've gotten your house already. Okay. We spent all this time. It's perfect. No cobwebs around the door frame on the outside. Everything's perfect. And here, it's the day of the open. And I said, let's kick our shoes off. And we kick our shoes off right in the middle of the doorway. And I just walk out on the porch, walk out on the sidewalk. And I say, you're here. This is the first day. We are new buyers coming to your house. Where's your impression? What are you looking at?
Shoes.
You're looking at that big pile of shoes.
Yeah.
Do you want your first impression for your multi-million dollar house be the first impression is a big pile of ugly shoes?
It's so true.
You tell me.
That's so true.
And so I don't come in there and say, we want to keep your shoes on. I give that presentation and they're all like, exactly. Why would I want someone else to come in here and screw up this first impression?
It's so true. And it's funny that I'm so particular about things as well, is I will order new booties. If there's like new carpet and I really have to keep it pristine, I'll order booties. And so then that gives an experience.
Yeah. Well, and there are some times where they want it, but then if you've got the booties, have a fucking chair for people to sit down and put the booties on.
It's the details. It's
have a chair that's easy for them. It's so stupid. You're trying to put the booties on, you're falling over.
Yeah.
You know?
I've had that same experience. Like, it's funny. We do brokers tour in the city, and I'll usually wear slip-on shoes. Intentionally.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I know I'm inevitably going to run into a bunch of those properties.
Yeah.
And so I'll make sure they're slip-ons, and I got nice socks on that day.
Oh, another pet peeve is down here, outside the city, they got these, the super keys, the blue super box keys, lockbox, and a lot of agents don't put them on the front door. They don't put them on the front door. They put them like around the corner on the gas meter.
Oh my God.
And I get so, I'm like, and I talk about this stuff at the listing presentation because I'm talking about stuff that no one else talks about. I'm like, listen, we are here to market your house. If someone's coming in the evening and they are looking for that lockbox and it's a little dark, every second that buyer's sitting at your porch while that agent's looking is more of a negative feeling on your house. Yeah. Because an agent's like, oh, I don't want to scuff up the fucking front door. Put it there. You got to make it so easy to show. Have a backup combo box right there that if it's not working, they can call you and they can get in. But it's about making it so simple and easy for agents to get in there and not have negative experience for the buyers.
Yeah. I think that's...
So I tell these stories, very passionate, and they're like, damn. I said, this is about marketing and experience. An experience.
All experience.
We'll figure out the comps. Is your house coming on the market tomorrow, Shawn? It's not. So it doesn't matter what price we come in. We'll figure that out together. Ultimately, it's your decision, but we just need to come up the range right now. Yeah. Okay? So it doesn't matter. You're not hiring me to tell you where that price is going to go. I'm here to market it to get the most people interested in it. That's my expertise. The market will figure it out. Okay?
Yeah, the buyers will always pay what the market will bear.
They will.
Period.
Will. Yeah.
Yeah, it very much on our team is the concept of how do we make it as easy as possible.
Yeah.
For whoever it is, the buyer's agent, the listing agent, the client, whoever it is. Like, how do we take the resistance away? And not like, and just little stuff. Like, agents will text you and ask a question. You're like, first of all, there's no signature. I have a random phone number. I don't know who you are. I'm like, so I coach the agents on my team is like, send your packet to them and then ask your question. And so they at least, and then can easily save it into their phone and they know who you are and there's a picture and there's your contact information, your license number, everything's there for them and it's saved.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's make it easy. Put the chair out.
Yeah. Make it easy.
Make it
Make it
easy.
experience. Yeah.
It's funny. Like in the city, sometimes we have to hide the lockbox because if it's on a condo, you don't want to have to rekey
Yeah.
a condo.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we have to hide it around the corner or
Yeah.
be creative with it.
Well, it's different in the city. It's totally different than, your
It's
market.
totally different. But what
Yeah.
we do is we take a photo of it, circle in red where it is,
Yeah.
and then you email or text the
Yeah.
agent. You tell them specifically where
Yeah.
it is. Here's a photo of where it is. Here's the combo. Here's my number. Text me if you run into any challenges.
Yeah.
And then here are all the steps. And then even what we do, because if I'm not going to be there, when you walk into the property, we have these little marketing cards
Yeah.
that just have a couple words, and it just walks through as you're walking through. It's so I don't have to sell the property. It literally sells
Okay.
itself.
We put up little feature signs around the house.
Yeah, those.
We put up feature signs around the house.
Yeah, those are brilliant.
And we've got these around the house to slow down the process. It's to slow down the process. And I don't want to be a used car salesman at the open house. At the open house, I want to show it, but how many times you go shopping and you're bombarded by every sales rep and you're like, leave me alone. I just want to enjoy the experience. And then you go to Home Depot and you can't find anyone to help you. Okay. There's a balance between the two.
There's a balance.
There's the balance. But, I've learned these ideas from whenever I see something else, I'm like, I'm going to do that. How can I make it look nicer? But I talk about at the listing presentation is I'm here to market. And casinos, I say, do you like to go gambling? And they're, a little bit, And I said, well, I like to go learn what they do. I'm not a big gambler, but they have tricks and techniques to how to keep you in that casino longer.
They do.
Because they know if they keep you in there an extra minute, they're making millions more. And so what are some of the tricks they use? And they go, they pump oxygen. Okay. They have no clocks. And I'm asking them like, what else do they do? What else?
No windows.
No windows. They make it confusing, free cocktails there. And so they have these techniques. My job is how can I first get their butts from the internet to your place? And once they get there to stay longer and to make it more enjoyable, And so these are some of the things we do to get them there. And again, I pet peeve is like agents who have 60 pictures on the MLS of the house. And it's all like, here's 3 of the front yard. Here's 3 of here's 3 of the entryway. Here's this one, this. And it's like, no one's going to go through all that, Shawn. They're going to lose it. They're not going to go through all that. You got so much time when a buyer's going through. And so it's what's the best 10 of everything we put at the front. Yeah. And we don't want to show them everything. We want it, so we maybe do 30. We want to get them to the house. Yeah. And so I talk about that stuff and how stupid and ignorant agents are because they don't focus on marketing. Well, it's going to sell itself. But it's not about putting a sign in and sitting on your ass and waiting for it to sell. And that's what most agents do, Shawn. And so it's about, I'm sorry, I'm getting very passionate.
No, it's funny. I get so passionate about it, and it drives me flipping bonkers when the sequence of the photos don't even tell a good story.
No.
Like, it's like, I'm in the yard, I'm in the bedroom, now I'm in the bathroom, now I'm in the kitchen, now I'm back in the living room. You're like, what freaking layout is this? This makes zero sense to me. I can't, and now you're like confused, off put, and you just click on the next one. You completely just omit it.
Yeah.
Years ago, I was in the city and my clients were contemplating writing an offer on a property, and there's an agent, CC Blaze. And
I know CC.
I walk into her property and she had these little note cards all over, and I'll never forget this. In the front window, there's a beautiful bay window, and the sun was coming in, and there was this cute note card on the mantle that told a story about the owner's dog and how it loves to lay in this one in particular spot to enjoy the afternoon sunshine. And it created obviously such an impression. I'm sharing with you many years later on a podcast, but it created such a feeling about the property that I realized I was like, I have to encapsulate that and do that in my listings.
Yeah.
And so it really pushed me to up the bar and think about, from the buyer's perspective, when they're walking around the backyard and they see a tree, to let them know, oh, it's a Myers lemon tree.
Yeah.
And it makes the most amazing lemonade on those hot summer days.
Yeah.
And now it's this experience about this lemon tree.
Yeah.
And so I completely agree with you. It's about not just here's a wall, but what's the magical moment in this room that you're spending time in? And then more importantly, how do I keep you there a little bit longer and enjoy it?
Yeah. Because if and I say if they're there longer, it's probably going to be more crowded. And now you have the crowd to your advantage because you go into an open house, you're the only one there. There's no atmosphere, and so, so that I talk 85% of my listing presentation is marketing and strategies. There's a whole thing on just strategies, like what day of the week do you come on? What day of the week do you look at offers? And I say, I never look at offers on a Monday. I never look at offers on a Friday, and talk about strategies and marketing, because that's what most agents aren't talking about. Or they say, oh, we do drone, we do photos. No, what is your specific unique marketing that you do differently?
Man, we should just do another recording of just listing strategies.
I agree. I'm serious. Yeah.
I'm totally down. I think there's so many, you clearly have so many good experiences and nuggets to share. I feel like it would be, half of the sales out there are the listings. So we should absolutely, if you're down for it, we'll find another time on the calendar.
I started doing, the whole thing I think that was freaking agents out when this NAR thing came out a year ago was actually doing a buyer interview before. Just don't go into the car. And that was the one thing I learned from Lorna Hine is doing a buyer interview and setting, and again, Shawn, I started out at just 2.5%, but when I started hearing that other agents were doing it for 3% and coming out and their clients were coming up with the difference, 85% of my clients are doing it for 3%. They pay me 3%. And a lot of times they come up with the difference out of their own pocket to pay me. But there's things that I do a buyer's workshop. It's about 2 hours. And so before we write an offer, I want to go through with them. Here's the purchase contract. Here's how to go through it all. I want you to understand this. Ask your questions now. And this is how to read a termite inspection. This is how to read a property inspection. This is what a JCP is. This is what liquefaction is. Okay. All of that stuff. Because this is the biggest purchase of their life.
Yes.
And I know that by the time we're going to write an offer and they're looking at comps and what do I do? And now we're going to go over the contract. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They know what they're doing.
It's true.
And so, but doing a 2-hour workshop, I got a buyer's workshop with them one-on-one to go through that stuff in advance and to educate them. They're not going to remember it all, but that's my added benefit to the buyers.
It's, it's funny. We talked about earlier, how do you present an offer? And the more important part is how do you keep your buyer calm and level?
Yeah.
It's by spreading out the steps.
Yeah.
And I do the same thing. I spread it out. We don't talk about contingencies and waiving them and keeping them and the risks and rewards the day of. We talked about it months prior.
Yeah.
We've flushed out. We've talked to lenders. They've talked to other professionals to get opinions. You probably hear my dog barking in the background. I apologize. But they go into the next phase with their eyes wide open. So when it's a competitive situation, they're not worried about the contract. They're just now deciding on price. Like it's a whole different experience. And I agree. I think, I don't know what the averages are, and I know there's no step price and blah, blah, blah. And agents can charge what they can want, but we do know stats, and there's 2.5 million agents out there. And the recent stat, according to NARS, 1.7 did 0 transactions last year. Yeah. And then within the agents that did, according to Pareto's rule, that 80% or 20% of those did 80% of the transactions, meaning they probably should be charging a premium for their services because they're doing something clearly vastly different than 1.7 million agents who are producing 0, working with 0 people.
Yeah. Once I raised my price point for the buyer broker from 2.5 to 3, I got better clients who listened to me and respected me. I'm not a waiter. And that's how most buyers look at as agents is I can get all this stuff on Zillow and Redfin. If I could write the offer myself, I'd do it. But here's my order. You're a waiter. Go back to the kitchen and put my order in. And they treat you like that. Yeah. They treat you that because that's what most agents do is just an order taker, and they don't show their added value.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah. I tell my clients, like, listen, do you hear my dog going crazy? We'll just have to edit that out.
Okay. Something's got to work.
Wow, I can't even get a word in edgewise.
I can see who's in charge over there.
Exactly. She's in her crate, and sure, I was supposed to take her out, and I haven't yet. Clearly. All right, so we'll have some cleanup at the end. Marissa, if you can edit that, the barking and the pause out, that'd be amazing.
Okay.
Gosh, where were we? What I was going to say is I always share with my clients that, regardless of which seat you're on in the plane,
yeah,
you're going to get to the same destination.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a huge difference in experience.
Yeah.
Between the first seats and the last seat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It might get a little bumpy along the way. Unknown, weather conditions, but we'll get there.
But having a glass of champagne helps smooth that out.
It does. As long as you're not the pilot.
John, this was really fun. Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, I think I like the idea about just focusing on some marketing and strategies. I have a whole section on strategies of, how you look at offers and days of the week, and that it's very uniquely different than other agents. But I also want to introduce you to Tanya Jones, my business partner. You would love
please connecting
in with her. So I'll do that next week for you guys.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'll ping back with you, and we'll get on the calendar to do that.
Okay.
In the meantime, that's a wrap.
Okay, Shawn. So appreciate you. This was fun.